Hey everybody, Mac Tomaso here, back with Marvel Heroes, and I've got our friend Nightcrawler up on the chopping block. Um, Saw a build that I liked, and so I decided to try it out, and it actually works really well. So I thought I'd throw it up so everybody could see it and try it out, if see, at least look at it, and maybe it appeals to them. Definitely different than my build, which would be more of a stealth type play. This is going to be a melee in your face type play, and this person actually made it work really well. It was Suicide who posted it on the forums. I saw it, and I did my own tweaks to it. Of course, I made it my own. You can make it your own too, and anything you don't like or do like or want to add or don't add. Basically, I don't even have really the right gear for it too. But let me get into the build first, and I'll go over the gear portion and how that works. So, I call it Flash and Slash because it's basically based off of X Slash and Flash and Grab. So for your build, you're going to be maxing out X Slash. And of course, if you're doing a swords build, you're going to do Master Swordsman. That's just a lot of extra damage coming out for you. And then we're going to do Art Seeker Guard, one of my favorites still. We're doing this for the dodge and the spirit, of course, but really the dodge. The crit's nice too. And I'll show you why the dodge in a second. This build is definitely gear dependent, so if you don't have the gear to put into it, it's not going to work so well. It didn't work for me yet well when I first tried it, and then I had to really kind of tweak the gear around a little bit, and then it started coming through. We're going to go with Infernal Brimstone, of course. I think just about every build out there does it. It weakens, it puts a vulnerability on there, and it does awesome damage. So I think that's just a staple for everybody's build. And of course, it's Flash and Slash, so we're going to do Flash and Grab. And this actually does the weaken, so the enemy deals less damage to you. A nice little added bonus. And this is also a control. Very nice control for trash. It stuns. It'll stun bosses around a little bit, and some added damage. And then finally, we're going to max out Incredible Acrobatics for this build, giving us a massive amount of dodge yet again, and a chance to completely evade and some movement speed. But really, for me, I think the dodge is what's really necessary. And then our 1-point skills will be Shadow Meld, Righteous Frenzy, and One Step Ahead. And I put the extra points I had left over into Righteous Frenzy. The signature, not really necessary, fun to use, once every 40 seconds, but it's not really a composing part of the build. Really, a major damage source for the bosses is going to be X Slash and Infernal Brimstone, and then Flash and Grab is going to be a disruption to the bosses. And for killing trash, Flash and Grab and Infernal Brimstone is going to be main damage source, and blues and yellows you're going to take out with some X Slashes as well. Getting into the gearing, which is going to be kind of an important factor. Not such a mandatory factor are going to be these two pieces, which I use, which is Advanced Crimson Crystal of Cedric, because it basically buffs damage rating on physical attacks and gives us a massive chunk of health. And the Advanced Kung Fu Training Sequence, which gives us health again. And this is a bad health for me. As you can see, I got 23,500 health. I'm really overkill on health right now, so I did a bad roll Kung Fu Training Sequence. Usually you can get them with 12 to 15k health and a little bit lower of melee damage, and that's what I would prefer actually. So I took one of my bad roll ones and saved one of the good roll ones for someone who needs the hit points. So if you needed hit points, you could use a good roll one, obviously. Kind of centric around the build, and reason why we're going so much dodge is going to be the Pym Shrinking Serum, we're going to net a lot of spirit income on trash kills, and this is going to help with the boss as well until we get gear. After you get gear, you won't need it as much, but I find it very handy to have. I don't like running out of spirit in the middle of a boss kill, especially something long like Doom or something, which with my gear I have happen. The videos I saw, the guy was definitely maxed out in gearing and had no issues at all. So I keep the PIM shrinking on. And basically, with all the dodge we're getting up there, I'm sitting around 40% dodge, which means I'm getting massive amounts of spirit coming back in, obviously. And of course, the Advanced Super Soldier Serum, that's giving us health, health regen, spirit, spirit regen, defense, attack speed. It's all around. Now for him, he was doing the dual meta sensory array spec, I think mainly for the damage rating and the +1 to skills, because he was trying to hit 40 in his ranks. I don't concern myself so much with 40. I think, you know, if you got all the uniques, you'll be fine. You can definitely farm for a couple, you know, perfect weapon and a perfect boot. He uses the unique chest, hand, and shark. So, and then he has cosmic weapon and boots, all based for pluses to X slash and whatever other skills he can use. I personally don't think it's that important for those pluses. I think the uniques are good enough, but I haven't really looked into Nightcrawler's uniques, so I don't know what they do. They could be quite unimportant to the build. Obviously, I got Gungner. It crosses over all skills, where Excalibur does not. Excalibur definitely would buff X-Slash, but like Flash and Grab and Righteous Frenzy and Infernal Brimstone, it doesn't cross into that, where at least a crit from Gugnar is going to go all over those skills. And if you decide to go with another build, Gugnar carries over. Unfortunately, Nightcrawler's skills aren't all tagged melee, and that makes Excalibur, which you would think would be the ideal sword for Nightcrawler, not the ideal legendary for Nightcrawler. But then again, this is the primary damage source on bosses. Therefore, you know, his take is beef up that skill to the max and chew down the boss in a second. Now for the Euro, I went with the defensive Euro, and the primary source of spirit income is going to be River of the Soul, the 6 spirit when you hit with a power. That's keeping you up with the PIMs. It's all spirit coming in. And then I got lucky with this Cosmic being +8 to X-Slash and then 9 spirit on enemy defeat. So I'm getting more and more spirit coming through. These two pieces are okay. They're level 60 epics with health and hit point regen, and some spirit on this one. This is just basic farm gear, and then this is a 40 unique. The ring, I got health. This is why obviously I'm getting so much health. I got health on my insignia with a chance to deal some extra energy damage and slow an enemy by 40% for 5 seconds. So I'll take that. And some extra dodge. I'm a dodge guy. And then health on the core, of course, with 25% health and spirit on medkit with +1 durability. That's not too shabby for someone who's going to be standing in the midst of trouble and slashing at him, and who's supposedly supposed to be pretty squishy. He is pretty squishy, I'm not going to lie. But 23,500 hit points, you can take a hit and get out of the way much, much easier. And that's basically how the build works. I'll show how it works in a terminal here. And basically, it's actually harder dealing with trash than bosses with this build, ironically. And the reason being is because you're not used to, well, I'm not used to, I should say, I'm not used to having to spam the flash and grab to control the mobs, which is basically what's happening. You're dropping an Infernal Brimstone, and you hit a flash and grab, and you're basically tapping that once a second to stun everything, to continuously stun it and make sure it's stunned, and you're killing them that way. So I'm going to do the Taskmaster. He hits like a truck sometimes. At least in the next defense he can. Make sure you activate your Heartseeker Guard, and then if you look over here, my dodge rating is 40%. So, you know, it's nice to take that less damage. And of course, the primary thing to do is to make sure you're getting all these guys controlled. If this was Cosmic, there'd be a lot more damage going on, so you gotta really be on your toes. You don't want to be dealing with so much extra enemies. So in this green, flash and grab is really going to be able to kill off a lot of these guys. When you see any harder ones like blues, you just pull them in. You can see the stun does last quite a little bit, so it's nice. Get a little control. And I'm just kind of throwing them out there. And the guys that shoot you are actually kind of your friends, because they're they're shooting you so much. They're throwing so many dodges your way. Even though PIMS doesn't go off, you know, more than once a second, it's a lot of spirit income. So that with River of the Souls, it's keeping you full of spirit without an issue. Let's go find. Oh, here's a good little group. Now, even though those guys were invulnerable, flash and grab stunned them, dropped their shields, and boom, they're killable again. So the trick here is to keep spamming the flash and grab to keep stunning them, and look how fast he dropped in like a second there. I mean, that was easier than pie. It's a phenomenal boss killer, and you know, it does decent against the trash. I like the Madam Hydras because when you're dealing with the trash, it gives you extra spirit coming in, and it's got, you know, a pretty high damage rating. Unfortunately, it's 40 seconds for the invulnerability, but you know, what are you going to do? They nerfed it. It used to be 20 seconds. It was really nice. And then you know, it's just damage rating. It's base damage rating. It covers all the things. You could do Kingpins that will work against your X-Slash. It won't buff your other skills. You could do a Venom Metal, so when you get hurt, you know, it's a little better. But, I don't know. I just go with the basics and stay with Madam Hydra for something that crosses over all the borders. So, hope it helps. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you later.